Okay, so have you ever felt that burning frustration when progress just isn't happening fast enough?
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
You know that voice inside, right? The one yelling, "You should be further along,"
Where?
or "Why aren't you getting this faster?"
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah.
And in this world we live in, everything feels like it should be instant, like a download.
Exactly. So we expect our own growth, our personal evolution, to be just as quick, and then, well, it isn't.
And that's where the frustration really kicks in. It feels like a personal failure almost.
Right. So today we're going to dive deep into something that honestly feels a bit counterintuitive, but it's so crucial for real lasting growth.
And that is developing patience with yourself.
Yes. Patience. It's not just some nice little virtue to have.
Yeah.
We're talking about a foundational skill for your health, your mindset, basically how you handle life's bumps.
It really is foundational. We'll look at why being hard on yourself often backfires, surprisingly.
And uncover the real power of self-compassion. Plus, we'll get into some practical stuff, actual strategies you can use to become your own best supporter.
Shifting that relationship with yourself from like an adversary to an ally, that's the core of it.
Okay, so if we're all sort of wired for instant results, what happens when real growth, which is, let's face it, messy and slow, just doesn't cooperate?
Well, that's where we hit that first big hurdle, isn't it? This illusion that growth should be instant and the real cost of being impatient with ourselves.
Yeah, our nature is to aim for goals, right? And the world reinforces this idea of immediacy, so we get anxious about the process itself.
Exactly. It's the waiting part, the small steps, the detours. That's what gets under our skin.
It stings.
It really does. And we hate admitting we're not fully in control, that good things, real changes, they just take time. They can't be rushed.
It feels like wasted time sometimes.
But it's actually essential time. And then when we inevitably stumble or feel emotional pain, what's the go-to reaction for so many people?
Self-criticism. Straight away. Judging ourselves harshly.
Yep. And believe it or not, there's a reason for that. It's actually an evolved strategy, or at least it started that way.
Really? How so?
Well, think about social emotions like shame or guilt. Self-criticism might have developed as a way to feel more in control in those situations. Maybe protect ourselves from what we think others are judging.
Okay. Like trying to beat others to the punch by criticizing yourself first.
Sort of, yeah. And redirecting anger inward. And, crucially, trying to motivate ourselves to change. Lots of people genuinely think, if I'm really hard on myself, I'll push myself harder.
That's fascinating that it's an evolved thing. But if it's supposed to motivate us, why does it often feel like we just get stuck? Does being harsh ever actually work?
Well, that's the tricky part, the paradox. Self-criticism feels like it's giving you a push, right? But it's more like a mirage.
A mirage.
Yeah, it tricks your brain into thinking you're taking control, but it's actually draining your energy, your real power. Instead of protecting you from judgment, you just end up judging yourself relentlessly. It makes you suppress emotions, not process them. And fundamentally, it just goes against basic learning principles. Reinforcement works better than punishment, long term.
Right.
I mean, think about it. You can't really hate yourself into becoming healthier or happier. That's self-punishment. It just doesn't fuel sustainable change.
Okay, let's unpack this. So what does this all mean? We think we're pushing ourselves, but we're actually digging a deeper hole.
That's a perfect way to put it. We're digging ourselves deeper, and the consequences, they can be quite serious.
Like what?
Well, mentally, it disconnects you from your goals. It leads to avoiding things, sometimes self-hatred, just endlessly replaying mistakes in your head. Rumination.
Yeah, I can see that.
And physically, it shows up. Stress-related problems like ulcers, headaches, acid reflux, even things like acne flare-ups or trouble sleeping.
Wow. So it's not just in our heads.
Not at all. Our physical health is so tightly linked to chronic stress, and constant self-criticism is a huge, often hidden source of that stress.
Okay, so if self-criticism is the trap, how do we actually get out? What's the real path forward when things are moving slowly?
Well, this is where we bring in the power couple.
Yeah.
Patience and self-compassion.
Patience. Okay.
And let's be clear, real patience isn't about being passive or just rolling over. It's actually a very engaged practice.
Engaged? How so?
It means really facing reality.
Yeah.
Openly accepting delays, difficulties, frustrations, whatever's happening. Actively waiting, embracing things as they are, not just how you wish they were. Accepting difficulty like that, it takes real strength. It's like building a muscle. Definitely not passive.
And you said self-compassion is key to unlocking this kind of patience.
Exactly. Self-compassion is the alternative, the direct antidote to that harsh inner critic. Kristen Neff, who's done amazing work in this area, defines it beautifully.
How does she put it?
She talks about being open to your own suffering, feeling caring and kindness toward yourself, taking an understanding, non-judgmental stance towards your flaws and failures.
Non-judgmental. That's the hard part.
It is. And crucially, recognizing that your struggles are part of the human experience. Everyone goes through this stuff. It's basically about being your own ally, not your own enemy.
That really changes the whole frame, being an ally. So what does that look like? What are the parts of this allyship?
There are three main pillars, and they're all connected. First is self-kindness. Simple, but not easy. Treating yourself with the warmth you'd give a good friend, instead of judgment.
Okay, self-kindness.
Second is common humanity, remembering that being flawed, making mistakes, that's human. We're all works in progress, connected by these shared struggles. You're not alone when you feel stressed or overwhelmed.
That's a comforting thought, actually, that you're not alone.
It really is. And the third pillar is mindfulness, which means observing your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them or trying to push them down, just noticing, okay, this is how it is right now.
Mindfulness, noticing without judgment. Okay. Now, I often hear people mix up self-compassion with self-esteem. Can you clear that up? Isn't it just about feeling good about yourself?
Yeah, great question. That's a super common mix-up. Self-esteem is often tied to outcomes and comparing yourself to others.
Like, I aced the test, I'm smart.
Exactly. I got an A, so I'm smarter than most. It depends on success, on being better than others, maybe. Self-compassion is different. It's more about the process and caring for yourself no matter what.
Regardless of the outcome.
Regardless. So it's like, I got an A, that reflects the hard work I put in, or maybe I failed that test and that feels really tough right now, but I'm still worthy of kindness and I can figure out what went wrong.
Okay, I see the difference.
Yeah, and the research is really clear on this. Self-compassion gives you much more stable emotional resilience than self-esteem does, because it's not dependent on constantly winning or getting external validation. It's like having your own built-in support system.
Okay, the benefits are starting to sound pretty amazing. What kind of tangible impacts are we talking about here across different areas of life?
Oh, they're really wide-ranging, quite profound, actually. Mentally and emotionally, people who practice self-compassion tend to judge themselves less harshly.
Less judgment. Okay.
They experience significantly less depression and anxiety. They use healthier coping strategies when things get tough. Their motivation tends to be more intrinsic, doing things because they matter to them, not just for approval.
That sounds huge.
It is. And they report greater life satisfaction overall. Higher levels of optimism, gratitude, hope. Just a stronger sense of self-worth that isn't so fragile.
Wow. That really does sound like a transformation of your inner world.
It really can be. And it doesn't stop there. It actually extends to your physical health, too.
Physical.
People who practice patience and self-compassion report fewer symptoms of illness. They experience pain less intensely and tend to have better quality sleep.
Okay, that's fascinating. Is there like a biological reason for that?
Yeah, there is. Self-criticism activates our threat system. Think adrenaline, cortisol, the stress hormones, fight or flight. Self-compassion, on the other hand, seems to trigger the release of oxytocin. That's sometimes called the bonding or cuddle hormone. It actually calms the nervous system, regulates stress. It literally changes your body's chemistry in a good way.
Oxytocin.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's calming you down physiologically. What about relationships? Does being kinder to yourself spill over into how you treat others?
Absolutely, it does. Socially, it fosters more kindness and empathy towards other people, too. Patient, self-compassionate people tend to be more empathetic, more forgiving, more equitable in their interactions.
Interesting.
They also tend to score higher on agreeableness, conscientiousness, generosity. They're often more open to new experiences and different kinds of people. It could even lead to things like more civic engagement.
So it makes you a better community member, in a way.
In a way, yes. And when you connect this patience and self-compassion to your sense of purpose in life, it fuels your motivation, your perseverance, your confidence. It leads to higher satisfaction with what you achieve and how you live.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. The benefits sound incredible, but it's not always easy to adopt, right? If it's so good, why isn't everyone doing it? Why is it so hard for some people?
That's a really important point. It can be incredibly challenging. One reason is, well, it might not have been modeled for us when we were kids. If we didn't consistently receive compassion, it's harder to learn to give it to ourselves.
Right, you learn what you live.
Exactly. And then there's that big fear we talked about, the fear that self-compassion equals laziness or self-indulgence.
Yeah, that I'll lose my edge kind of thinking.
Precisely. The worry that if I'm too kind to myself, I won't be motivated to change or improve.
But you said the research shows the opposite, right? That it actually boosts motivation.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
When you approach your mistakes and failures with compassion, the prospect of future setbacks feels less terrifying. You're more willing to try again. It actually increases your motivation to learn and grow because failure isn't seen as this catastrophic indictment of your self-worth.
It's about empowering yourself, not letting yourself off the hook.
Perfectly said. And it's so important to remember that growth isn't usually a sudden jump. It's a process.
Like building muscle.
Exactly like building muscle or learning any new skill. There's often that steep learning curve at the beginning, right? Requires a lot of effort. Then it gradually starts to flatten out as you gain competence. And navigating that whole curve requires consistent effort and, yeah, deep patience with yourself along the way.
All right, let's get practical then. How do we actually start cultivating this patience, this self-kindness? What's step one?
Okay, step one might sound a bit backward, but it's crucial. Before you can be compassionate, you have to notice when you're not being compassionate. You have to become aware of your own self-criticism.
Catch yourself in the act.
Yes. Identify it. Like Daniel Siegel says, you have to name it to tame it. Often that critical voice is so automatic, we don't even hear it consciously.
So how do we tune in?
Ask yourself questions like, did I just call myself an idiot? Or was I automatically jumping to the worst case scenario there? Did I use words like should or must on myself? Is my jaw clenched? Is my stomach tight? Noticing those clues is the absolute first step.
Okay, identify the criticism, name it. Then what? Do we argue with that inner critic?
Fighting it often just gives it more power, actually. A more effective approach is to try and befriend your inner critic.
Befriend it, really?
Yeah, approach it with curiosity. Sort of like, oh, there you are again. Ask it questions. Okay, why did you show up right now? What feeling are you trying to get me to pay attention to? Are you worried about something? Trying to keep me safe?
Understand its motive.
Exactly. Often it has a protective, albeit clumsy, intention. Once you understand that, you can thank it for the heads up for the information and then consciously shift into problem-solving mode rather than just beating yourself up.
That's a really different way of relating to that voice. Okay, what about the judgmental thoughts themselves? I'm so stupid, I always mess up. It's hard to just switch those off.
It is. You can't just switch them off. But you can try to reframe those judgmental thoughts into factual observation.
Factual. How?
So instead of the big emotionally loaded, I'm so pathetic, try to be objective and specific. For example, maybe you said something awkward at work. Instead of I'm so nosy and unprofessional, reframe it as, okay, I asked one question about my boss's personal life that, thinking about it now, maybe crossed a line. I feel awkward about that.
Ah, okay. It takes the sting out.
It does. It removes that cloud of judgment and lets you look at the actual behavior constructively, not your entire self-worth. Then you can think, okay, lesson learned. Next time I'll stick to safer topics at work.
That feels much more manageable. Now, what about the physical side? Our bodies often tense up with self-criticism. Can we do anything physically?
Well, absolutely. Remember, the brain-body connection works both ways. What you do with your body sends signals back to your brain. So practice soothing touch.
Soothing touch?
Yeah, think about how comforting a hug from someone you trust feels. You can actually give yourself a similar sensory input. Try things like wrapping your arms around yourself for a moment, or just gently stroking your arm. Lying under a soft weighted blanket can be amazing, or even just placing a hand over your heart or on your cheek.
Simple gestures.
Simple but powerful. These actions send signals of safety and care to your brain, and they can actually trigger that oxytocin release we talked about, calming your nervous system down.
Wow, that's so practical. I like that. What if someone's really struggling to feel compassion for themselves, even with these techniques?
That happens. Another really powerful technique is to try talking to a younger version of yourself.
Your younger self.
Yeah. Sometimes it's easier to direct compassion outwards first, even if it's towards a past version of you. Imagine that younger you feeling the same struggled emotion you're feeling now. Maybe embarrassment or fear or sadness. What would you say to that child?
He'd probably be much kinder.
Exactly. You'd focus on comforting the feeling. Like if you're feeling embarrassed now, you might talk to your younger self about how awful embarrassment feels, how it makes you want to hide. By offering compassion to that younger self, you're subtly building the muscle for compassion towards your present self.
I love that. Connecting with your past self in a kind way. Okay, how can we make this self-compassion feel less abstract, maybe, more purposeful.
Connect it to your core values. Self-compassion becomes much more potent when it's supporting what truly matters to you.
How do you figure out those values?
You can ask yourself some big questions like, what do I want people to remember about how I lived my life? What core principles can I pull from that? Then, look, honestly, are there ways I'm not living in line with these values right now? And the key question, what do I need short-term and long-term to help me live more aligned with these values?
Okay, so it's about using self-compassion to support living a life that feels meaningful to you.
Exactly. Like maybe a therapist realizes they value creativity and rest just as much as helping clients, but they're burnt out. Self-compassion, guided by those values, might lead them to reschedule clients to make space for rest and creative pursuits, even if it feels difficult initially. It directs the kindness effectively.
That makes sense. Okay, life inevitably throws curveballs, right? Setbacks happen. How does patience with ourselves help us handle those moments without getting totally derailed?
Setbacks are, pretty much unavoidable. The absolute key is how you respond to them.
Right.
The big trap is blaming failure on something internal, stable, and uncontrollable about yourself. Like, I failed because I'm just weak or I have no willpower.
Why is that so bad?
Because it tanks your self-confidence.
What?
It makes you feel like future failures are inevitable, so why even try? Instead, try to focus on external factors that might have contributed. Was the environment challenging? Were there unexpected influences from others? Maybe even side effects from medication.
Look outside yourself for contributing factors.
Yes, and remind yourself of times you have succeeded in the past. Remember your potential. Then refocus on the goal. Maybe adjust the plan and try again. It's like that saying, expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Have a plan for when things go sideways.
Build that resilience, which, like you said, takes time and patience. So wrapping up, what are some daily things, maybe mindset shifts, we can practice to really embed this self-kindness?
Okay, a few things. First, try to see discomfort as information. Not necessarily as a sign to stop, but maybe a signal to reassess, or maybe just a call for rest.
Listen to your body and mind.
Exactly.
Yes.
Second, reframe self-care. It's not selfish indulgence. It's actually a responsibility.
Yeah.
You need to recharge to be effective for yourself and others. Maybe find what some call a breakdown bench, literally or figuratively.
A breakdown bench.
Yeah, a safe space or a ritual you create where you can just let yourself feel the big, messy feelings without judgment. A place to fall apart a little so you can put yourself back together.
I like that image. A safe space for messiness. Also, affirmations can be surprisingly helpful if they feel authentic to you. Simple things like, I am perfectly imperfect. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Or, I am worthy of my own patience. And remember this, action follows thought, sure, but thoughts also follow action. Sometimes you have to act as if you care about yourself, even if you don't feel it yet. Make yourself a nice meal. Take that bath, go for that walk, treat yourself kindly through your actions, and often your brain chemistry and feelings will start to catch up.
Fake it till you make it, a little bit.
Kind of, but in a genuinely caring way, and consciously change your internal dialogue. Catch the, I can't do this, and try shifting it to, okay, how am I going to figure this out?
Small shifts.
Small shifts, consistently practice. Think of it like tuning an old radio. You got to keep adjusting the dial to get rid of the static. It takes consistent, gentle effort. Real growth needs practice. It needs honest feedback, even from yourself, and a supportive environment which you can create within yourself.
Wow. What a truly transformative deep dive this has been. It really gets to the heart of things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the biggest takeaway is that this patience with yourself, this self-compassion, it's not weakness. It's not passive. It's an active, engaged kindness that builds real resilience.
Yeah. It's the fuel for sustainable growth, isn't it? The secret sauce for navigating challenges, learning from mistakes, and really just becoming more fully yourself.
Exactly. It's the essential ingredient.
It really is. And this journey, this growth, it's ongoing, right? It's often messy, definitely not linear, but hopefully deeply rewarding in the end. We really hope you embrace it with kindness towards yourself.
There's that great quote from Nelson Mandela, "Do not judge me by my success. Judge me by how many times I fell and got back up again." It makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does.
What would your own getting back up story look like if, through all the stumbles, you were consistently your own greatest supporter, your own best friend?
That's a powerful thought to leave everyone with. We really challenge you listening. Maybe start today. Pick just one small way you can be a little kinder, a little more patient with yourself.
It takes courage. Acknowledge that. It's a real commitment to develop this patience with yourself.
It absolutely is. Thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you. It's been great.